I'm thrilled to be here. Honestly, it's not. I'm not starting with exaggeration. That's a genuine feeling in my heart. Um, this church is glorious. This is one of the most beautiful unification churches I've ever been in. So as I arrived, I thought to myself, actually, unification churches should be competing with one another to try to make unification members move to their town. Like I thought to myself, man, like if I was a member, I'd move to Columbus. First of all, it's a beautiful place. It's beautiful here. It's very pleasant. It's just beautiful to look at. Then you pull up to this church, solid as a rock, beautiful, beautifully kept. I thought, why would we want to be anywhere else in the country, especially? I mean, if you could be anywhere. So that was my genuine feeling, and it struck me that the future of God is in local churches, and local churches should compete with one another. They should. That's how it should be. It only makes sense to me. Then the other thing I thought as I was sitting here now, as church started, is that actually the only place on a Sunday morning that any reasonable person in the world, or in Columbus at least, should be here, honestly speaking. Not only for the beauty of your church, but the beauty of our teaching, the beauty of our tradition, the beauty of our people. Where else would it be more reasonable to be than in a unification worship service? You're bound to hear and learn things that are truly remarkable compared to anything you've ever heard. Isn't it a fact? And so I thought to myself, members nationwide and maybe worldwide also, we don't feel the confidence yet somehow, I don't know quite why, to say, I go to this church on Sundays, you should come. I don't, where else, what else is anybody doing? At best, they're in a New Testament Christian church, and some of them are fantastic, no doubt. But all you're going to get is New Testament Christianity there, which is a fantastic path of life, no doubt. But the unification, understanding, and account of certain dimensions of life in the world are remarkable to learn if we hear and learn them. So this is, upon arriving, was this idea of the local churches becoming the future of God's life. That for sure. When one is finally managed and maintained beautifully and makes an impression as you come at it off the street, and a place to actually park your car for a change, et cetera, right? But then inside the building is when I thought to myself, why wouldn't anybody from Columbus not be here? I don't get that. I don't get that. And I think that we can grow into that sense of things about ourselves. Now, one of the typical, hold on a second. One is open. I'm just gonna, I know I promised the young man never to leave the stage, but I don't want to waste another bottle of water when I already started. All right, so given what I just said about this, I'm not trying to be funny or clever. I mean this. I mean this. And then you couldn't get that many more people in here. Maybe it's 2/3 full or something like that. You don't have that many chairs left. So then if Columbus people started getting wise and waking up and saying, holy mackerel, I could come here every Sunday and learn stuff I've never dreamt, honestly. then you'd need a bigger church, or you'd need more of them or something like that. Then maybe somebody else will have to take up being a sub-pastor or pastor of that one. Like, that's how it should roll with us, honestly speaking. And then there's this classical old debate. This isn't even what I prepared. These are just impressions since I've arrived here this morning and since listening to the beginning of the service. Then, given that feeling, why wouldn't any Columbus person be here? It makes the most sense to be here, honestly, for their lives, for what's going to happen to them next week, for their children, for their children's education, and so forth. It simply makes the best sense for them to be here now. And so then you bring up this old debate. Oh, what is it? How's it go? Our churches are not public friendly or other friendly or whatever, or what? Guest friendly, guest friendly. And then there's this debate, well, yeah, but our members really need, solid meat to chew on. We're not here to imitate Christianity. And there's this debate, right? But no church is guest friendly. No church is guest friendly. None, not one. They're not guest friendly. They're churches. They're weird. Every last one of them. It's just the case. I ran an Episcopalian church in my own neighborhood. I became the head of that entire congregation, trying to be invisible, literally trying to be invisible, but living in Father's fashion. And I became the head of this entire Episcopalian congregation. It was a beautiful church, beautiful church. Go into a church, it's weird. It's just weird. You don't know what to do. You're a stranger. That's what it is. And it's going to be the same thing for anybody. Don't feel, So if you have a friend, and if you think if it's worth your time, then you have a friend, come to church with me. And here's the last thing I'll say by way of this initial impression before I get into what I wanted to discuss with us. The way over this guest-friendly business is it's on you. It's on you. You're the mediator between their experience and trying to become comfortable in a new community. You come, you don't know where to sit. There's, like in a normal church is like, you sit, they stand, you stand, they sit. It's like, you don't know what to do. Or like, you walk across you walk across and there's like the baptismal and you didn't kneel and cry, and then like some old lady's glaring at you like you've just like, cursed your life forever. To everybody, you don't know what to do. And so you mediate your friend's experience. If you think it's a good idea to be here, then either it is or it isn't. And if it is, and you've got a friend, and they're a real friend, and then afterward, then you say, was that all right? Was that weird? Or this is why we did that? And then the person will say, oh, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Or, do you see what I'm saying? It's always our own witness, our own testimony that mediates between whether or not the church is guest-friendly. Every church on earth is guest-friendly, and every church on earth is not guest-friendly, depending on whether or not the people are interested in you and take care of you and are sincere and have interest in involving you. But the primary person is the one that bring you here. And then if nobody brought you here and they said, how did you hear about us? Some of the more gregarious, friendlier type of you come up to see some poor soul wandering around and knowing, everybody rocketed to the donuts and he's by, and then, the friendly one who remembers Father said, oh yeah, life for others. Go up to the poor soul and say, how did you come here? He goes, I just saw the sign. It looked curious, or something like that. You see what I'm saying? And then so we take care. Okay. So these are just initial impressions, but I mean this. We can grow. It's us, namely you here, is you. It isn't. Oh well, Hungjanim in 1988 or Hyungjanim and it's not. It's just you. It's just you. And if this makes sense, it makes sense. It's good stuff. And then it's worth sharing. And then if somebody says, "Oh, I read in the online, that you ate babies and you have 3 schisms," and you say, "Well, yes, we have 3 schisms. No, we don't eat babies." Any other questions? It's like work it out. It's not the end. What we are is what we are here. And coming in here makes a fantastic impression, an enormous impression. And sitting through the beginning of the service, Gloria, like as pleasant a soul as, I can bring anybody to come here and listen to Gloria run a service. No, right? Right? And then Wayne, right? That song was like a Who song. I don't know if they have any influence on your writing. Okay, there, I got it then. Yeah. I thought I should listen to Roger Daltrey singing that. You ought to see if Roger was singing it. Yeah, all right, okay. And good, so I guessed right. All right, so now I will move to this sermon I prepared. And this sermon covers 3 points. One is how we should view ourselves, or it's reflections on how to view ourselves, how we should view one another, how we should view ourselves, how we should view one another, and the nature of our family, That's what this sermon is about. And on how we, and then there's one subpoint, children of faith and children of blood. Okay? So 3 main points: how view myself, how we should view one another, and the nature of our family. And then I'll touch on what I think is an interesting reality: children of faith and children of blood. So that's what this sermon is about. And I've called it Our Way. So, all right. Now, these slides are in violation of your classical, make slides interesting. People like pictures. People have short attention spans. Don't put too many words on a page. Okay, I fail in all of this. They're not meant to be exciting and dramatic slides. They're meant to be simple, have the text in front of us that we want to reflect on together. All right? So, John 14:12-14 reads like this: "Most assuredly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also." That's Jesus talking. "He who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also," or he or she will do also. "And greater works than these he will do, because I go to my Father, God, and whatever you ask in my name, that I will do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask anything in my name, I will do it." This is Jesus' instructions to his disciples. "If you believe in me," says Jesus, "the works that I do, you will also do." It's incorrect to think of Jesus as some great thing that only he can do what he does. He himself explained that you can do those works. And he explained the dynamic of it. It isn't just like a self-help class taught by Tony Robbins or feel good about yourself. He explained why that's the case. Because I'm with the Father, he says. This was before he got crucified. He knew he was going to be beside God. He goes, so I'm telling you, these are the works that you can do also. Because I'm going to the Father, and anything you ask in my name, I will do. Okay, that's very nice of him. Thank you very much. That's very pleasant. But it's not just because some contract or some promise, because that the Father may be glorified in the Son. his primary concern is God, God's reputation, God's glory. And so that's why if you ask Jesus, okay, in this period of time, in the New Testament era period of time, when Jesus had to prepare people to last for thousands of years until the second coming could happen, he explains, you will do not only what I do, but greater than I do. And you don't have to just trust it, because he said so or something like that. He explained his own motivation, his own nature, his own character. His own character is the reason why I will answer anything you ask in my name, anything you ask in my name, I will do it, is because I want to glorify my Father. He's honest about his real, you don't really love me, do you? You're just doing this for your Father. Yeah, that's who I am. It's what I do. But it's still a great deal for you. Anything you ask in my name, I will do. Because I want to glorify my Father. And I'm with my Father. He knew his crucifixion was coming up after the Gethsemane prayer. He already knew, tragically. Okay. So that requires a lot of faith. It's hard to believe. And this is part of the first part of what I said, how we should view ourselves. It's hard to believe of ourselves in this manner, that I can do the same thing as what Jesus does. I can create works comparable to Jesus. It requires faith. It's difficult. But that's what I said. The first point is that's how we should view ourselves. How we should view ourselves as somebody like that. It's hard to get to there, but get to there. He said so. And he gives a common sense. He explains it all exactly. And this is just plain old Christianity. Not plain old, I shouldn't, it's the greatest religion the world has ever known. But these are for Christians. Now we have, in unification teachings and experience, we have something quite similar. This is the Chunseongyang, the Black Book, the 2006 printing or version. At Book 3, which is the title of that book, is called True Love, and Chapter 2 is called What is True Love? And here's Father explaining something to us, and I think most of us, the gentleman, we were together yesterday, I forget your name. What's it? Juan. Yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with unification, but anyway, so if I say true Father, I'm meaning, Samyang Muna, okay, good. Okay, so here's Father teaching us. Such a tradition can only start in true parents, with parents who are constantly burning with hope that their children will surpass them. That's the unification parallel to Jesus saying the exact same thing. You can do what I do and more. In Christian thinking, it's almost sacrilegious to have such a thought. But in Messianic thinking, it's normal to have such a thought. Of course, Jesus wants his disciples to do more than him. It's the same. All Messiahs think alike. With the burning hope that true children will surpass them, such parents will consistently encourage their children to succeed. Parents who long for the day when their children surpass them will devote their utmost efforts to prepare the best possible environment for them. All right? So we can easily recognize great similarity in these two occasions. Correct? Right? I'm not the only one who sees it, right? Jesus is telling his disciples, you will do what I do and more. True Father is explaining that it's the normal heart of parents that want their children to succeed, to surpass them. It's normal. It's normal human behavior. So this is just normal. And so the little sub-point when I mentioned children of faith and children of blood, Jesus never had his own physical children. He's talking to disciples, and they're children of faith. It's their faith in Jesus that will make Christians be able to do as much and greater than Jesus. It's still his parental heart, but he only had disciples. But true parents, where am I? Okay. True parents, it's the parental heart. It's that you want your children to be better. Okay? But it's the exact same dynamic. But in true fathers and in true parents' teaching, how do we create the circumstances in which our children can surpass us? In Jesus' case, he explained, I'm sitting with Father, with God. If you ask me, I'll do it for sure because I want God glorified. In true parents' case, they want their children to be better than themselves. It's not a matter of faith, it's a matter of lineage. That's the whole point of unification. Has to do with lineage. That's our whole point. And so the way that parents try to create the circumstance in which their children will surpass them is for the period of time in which we have the chance to pour out parental love unconditionally to our children. It's usually about 17, 18 years or so, correct? Correct? And then they're off on their own. But so you're pouring in love, you're pouring in hope, you're giving you're trying to get it right, you're trying to make them know they're loved. Basically, that's just know they're unconditionally loved. But here's something that can never stop. Parents devote the utmost efforts to prepare the best possible environment for them. Do you see the slight difference? Do you see the slight difference? It's a huge difference because the unification mission is to make heaven on earth. That's its point. And so if we are trying to create the conditions whereby the children surpass the parents, which is natural, Father does something very interesting. He says, what husband wants a wife worse than themselves? And he says the way you do it is you pour yourself unconditionally into the other. You want your wife better than yourself. And similarly, parents want their children better than themselves. So you pour yourself unconditionally into them. But the thing is that we forever retain our own mission. And so we prepare the environment, the best possible environment for them. That's our job. That's our job. It's such an interesting mission. So that you can't just like wish they were better or hope that they were better or just declare that they were better. They probably are better. They're born better. As I see my own kids, it seems clear to me that they're born better. That is not an issue for me. But if they don't have an environment in which they can surpass me, they might get knocked out by their environment. A lot of our kids get knocked out by their environment. We were not able to create a great environment. Not in our homes. I'm not talking about that. I'm not. Nobody needs to. If anybody feels guilty at the end of my sermon, I'll be very upset. The environment. I'm talking about the world. The world. So that's our mission. If our children are going to stand a chance to surpass us, they have to have an environment in which that's possible. I'm making sense? Okay. So how do we understand ourselves? We should understand ourselves as responsible to do more than Christ. Both of them say so. Both of them say so. Jesus says, you will do what I do and more. That's how we should view ourselves. True parents, you should do what I do and more. It's the natural heart of the parents. If we're always talking about true parents' heart and trying to comfort true parents, the way you comfort true parents is to do what's natural to the heart of true parents, and they want their children to surpass them. So that's what it is. That's what it means. Are you with me, right? Okay. Now, given that it's hard to believe about ourselves, it's hard to feel like that. But that is how we're supposed to feel, and it is the way we're supposed to behave. So given that, And then you're going to say, oh yeah, you're going to be better than Father. You're going to own like the biggest krill ship ever built, and you're gonna like. I was talking to Takanaka-san, like within 3 years, Father did within between 3 and 4 years, he did Washington Monument. Some little guy comes to America, can't speak English, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know whether a left turn signal, right turn signal, does red and green mean to stop or go? Within 3 years, he's doing Washington Monument. So it's hard to believe that about ourselves, but that is what they say. That's the parent's heart. And so we better take it seriously. We can't just blow it off just because Father was so great or true parents are so great. It's our job. So given that, then, I wanted to shift to another where I want to change this slide. Anybody? Okay. Okay. Is that the one is that the next one? I was pressing the button so many times. Okay, it is the next one. All right. Okay. So now I established that first point, right? That first point. That is how we're supposed to think about ourselves. And then there's the children of faith, children of blood. And the children of blood have a different, it's creating the environment to make it possible for the children to surpass. Okay. Now I'm going back to how are we going to deal with that? 1 Corinthians 12. Now, about the gifts of the Spirit, brothers and sisters, this is not Jesus speaking. This is Paul writing to the church in Corinth. Now, about the gifts of the Spirit, brothers and sisters, I do not want you to be uninformed. Okay? So this is so if we're uninformed, then shame on us, because it's been around for 2,000 years, Okay. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. What are you capable of doing, Gloria? What are you capable of doing? What's your first name? Oh, no, that I know is Precious. Yeah. PG with a P? Yeah, PG. Like, same, different? You're both capable of only doing the exact same thing? I don't think so. Very different, I'm sure. But there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. It's easy to get distracted by our differences. But that's why Paul makes a big deal to help the congregation in Corinth understand the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. Wayne plays the guitar and probably every instrument sitting out there, I bet. That young fella is running this operation, plus does all kind of stuff. Different kinds of service, but the same Lord. Different kinds of working, but in all of them, everyone, it is the same God at work. Okay, that's it, right? That's important, right? I'm glad to hear an amen and a clap on that one, because it's easy to miss that point. So my first point was how we should view ourselves. That's a rough one. Do as equal to Christ and more, oh my God, How we should view one another is here. This was my second point, how we should view one another. It's easy to get distracted by our differences. And we do a lot of dismissing of each other, even if it's pleasant on the face, and we have a lot of different views about one another. But this is bad. This is a bad-mindedness, honestly speaking. You have to find out who that brother is in front of you and who that sister is in front of you. Really, we have to make the effort. We do not know. We do not know. And it's not necessarily easy to find out. If somebody's talented and handsome or rich and strong, then you can see their gifts and their service. But if someone's humble and quiet or not so secure or not feeling proud of themselves, you have no idea the gifts that person carries. It takes a little work to do so. But it's not right not to do that work, honestly, and especially in a family like ours, because that gift, I'll go on. Is this the next one? Yeah. Here's all the different kind of gifts just in this particular case. The manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. That same point. For the common good. So it isn't just I'm a nice guy and I talk to you because I want to learn who you are. It's not because I'm a nice guy. It's the gifts are given for the common good. That's why it's my job to know who you are and to take the time to know who you are, because it's for the common good. That means it's also for my good. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So to one there is given a spirit of message of wisdom. To one there's a message of knowledge. To another, but it's the same Spirit. To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, healing by that one Spirit. Again and again and again. Paul is saying it's one Spirit, it's one Spirit. How different these people are. One person has miraculous powers. One person is knowledge. The knowledge guy is probably boring compared to the guy who could make you float, you know, or grow hair on your head or my head, you know, and then that's the guy I want to know. And the guy that just has knowledge, you know, I can tell you that the Nile is, you know, 3,400, except in the spring it's 3,200, you know. It's like, but that's a gift. That's his gift. We need people with knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So, but to another, prophecy. These people are crazy. You know, they're always coming up with new ideas. In 3 years, you know, everybody that voted for Trump is going to, you know, okay, you know, there's a gift of prophecy. So, but they might have that gift of prophecy, honestly speaking. To another, distinguishing between spirits. What a gift. What a gift. You may not know. There might be one in here. There might be one in here. Might be some quiet little sister who never exerts herself, but just sits there and has never been really given an open nobody listens to this sister, and she's sitting there and can see everything. She can see everything. She can see that's a mistake, but she doesn't have a voice. Do you understand? Yes. That's why husbands, you know, I'm telling you, pay attention to your wives and find out, because she may be sitting there quietly and could have spared you years of trouble. That is a fact. Do you understand? Do you understand? So to distinguish between spirits, we don't know what these gifts are. So another speaking in tongues, and still another interpretation of tongues. These are the works of one and the same Spirit. He distributes to each one as he determines. God does it on purpose. It isn't genetics. God is trying to accomplish a particular thing for the common good. Is it? For the common good. And so when I say how we should view one another, we should view one another as elements of God's strategic design. And not only is it up to me to find out what are your gifts, but it is up to you to find out what are your gifts. Because Jesus said, and Father said, you're supposed to do as much or more. He said so. And so you might not be able to own the biggest cruise ship ever built in human history, or do Madison Square Garden in the first 8 months of arriving in America. No, you can't do more than that, but you have a gift, that's for sure. And these are spiritual gifts. These are from the early churches, which are really needed. But now our gifts are different. You might be a programmer. You might be a financier. You might be, you don't know. You know, our gifts are for the common good of the community, but they're all given by the same Spirit. And just as Jesus said, the reason why I'll answer anything you ask me to do is for the glory of God. Same thing here. It's for the common good. It's for the common good. So it's not a humanistic kind of thing, like nice guy kind of thing, or Frank he listens. The other leaders don't listen. It's okay, maybe so. That might be so, but that's not the point. The point is that God is working strategically. He has a difficult job to save the whole world and thousands or millions of years of evil. And in trying to get this done, he gave you certain gifts. It's part of like a grand chess game. He can't do it without you, whatever they might be. I don't know what they might be. You're with me, right? And not only you need to know them, but he needs to know them because we're one body. Let me see if that's coming up in my next slide. Can you want to get that for me? I don't know if the clicker's working. Somebody up there, can you get it for me? Is that the next one? Okay, yeah, so here's the same thing I was saying. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but many. Now, if the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, would it say? It would not for that reason stop being a part of the body. That's, if you want to know a tragedy about people leaving our family, that's a tragedy right there. If you want to know what's a headache for God, because he put together, he's trying to make this thing work, and it's against serious odds. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. The parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor, and the parts that we think are unpresentable, we treat with special modesty. This is clever writing by Paul. He's helping the followers of Corinth and everybody that's ever read the Bible since, and us, to not have biases about the quality of the person sitting in front of me. So first of all, he says it's all for God. It's all for God, and God is all for us. So God has organized and in very subtle, very nuanced, very difficult. How difficult is it for God to give you your talents? He's working with genetics. He's working with what time of month your mom met your dad, and if she's mad at him, boop, there goes those talents. Maybe your brother got him, or it's hard for God to build a person, and then a person is born with talents, and then they end up in the wrong town, or they end up with the wrong friend in high school. It's hard for God. So at least we who are serious about the common good that God is talking about, that the manifestations for the common good, but all the spirits, all the talents are different. Oops, what happened? Oh, okay. Did I do that? Ooh, that's my power. Now I found out. I can turn myself off. Time's up. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So here's the last. Okay. There should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. That's us. That's us. So that's about all I have to say. I don't know if I spoke too long or a long time or short. I don't know, but you follow what I'm. The first part that we can do as much or more than the Messiah is scary. See, my New York stayed in my throat. It's scary. But that's our job. We have to think like that. We have to trust Christ at their word. He says, I'll do it. We'll do it. I'll do it. But likely that greater than is likely in the arena of your talent, in your gifts. I might be a foot. I might be an ankle. I might be an eyelash. I don't know which. It's my job to find out, because every single one is needed. But it's, as Paul said, but it's the same Spirit, the same Spirit, the same Spirit. It's of God. And we're serving God. And the mission of God is to save this world, is to get the ugliness and the suffering out of this world, and we can do it. The capacity of rebirth, the restoration of lineage, we're on the road. We're there. And so we have to start thinking and working together in a shared strategy with God. Thank you very much.